Before the rise of Tiber Septim and the occupation of Morrowind by the mongrel dogs of the Empire, Khajiit hunting was considered a sacred rite of passage among the Dunmer. Its history stretched all the way back to the pilgrimage of St. Veloth and the Chimer, during which the prophet's disciples sustained themselves in the cold of the Velothi Mountains by hunting Khajiit and skinning them for their pelts. Even after settling in the promised land of Morrowind, the Chimer remained eternally grateful to the Khajiit for the gift of warmth they had provided. The Chimer were so grateful, in fact, that they continued hunting and killing as many of those weird cat things as they could possibly find. For it was indeed an incredibly fun, sacred ritual. Sacred, yep. But then came Tiber, Dragonborn, whose thirst for land and conquest could not be sated. Those were the days of tribunal rule, and the tribune gods, being the useless sacks of piss, shit, and undigested corn that they were, bent right over for him. In the blink of an eye, the once proud and independent land of the Dunmer was rendered a province of a foreign empire. And as imperial rule dawned in Morrowind, the province and its people were exposed to morally reprehensible outlander ideas like Argonians are people, and having a legally sanctioned murder company to assassinate your political rivals without consequence is inadvisable. Like, okay, Tibes, what's next? Are you going to try and tell us some ludicrous shit like Khajiit hunting is bad? Well, apparently fucking yes. In walks Hlalu Helseth, bastard boy king of Baron Zaya and polisher of imperial boots, using nothing but his tongue, banning the sacred rite of Khajiit hunting. He also passed other labor law reform bills. Anyway, even before Helseth passed his sacrilegious ban on Kaj hunting, the practice had largely died out on its own in most regions of Morrowind, even in the lands of the supposedly tradition-bound houses Indoril and Dress. No doubt the product of generations of imperial rule and suppression of Dunmer traditions. Thanks, Septims. We can always count on you to swoop in and fuck with all things fun. And fuck with our fun the Septims well and truly did. In the centuries that have passed since Helseth's ban was enacted, the ancient art of Kaj Killen has faded into obscurity. A sacred and holy rite, once vital to the spiritual health and exuberance of the Dunmer soul, now abandoned and forgotten by dark elfkind. Not forgotten by me, though, son. Hey, folks, it's your boy Big D coming at you with another update on my spring break vacation in Skyrim. You all knew I was going to love this part of the trip. I tell you, that was one of the most successful hunts I've had since the Second Era. I bagged like 28 Khajiit. This country is, well, it was absolutely teeming with caravans. Ample amounts of game to track down. It was a fucking great time. You digging these fresh Khajiit fur get-ups? 'Cause I've got more Kaj scarves, hats, coats, and capes than I can count. Someone call Joan Riverwood and the fashion ordinators, because I'm straight up stylin' out here. But listen, on a serious note, don't take my tremendous success as a sign that this shit's easy. Khajiit hunting is actually a very difficult sport, especially for beginners. I didn't call it the ancient art of Kaj Killen for no reason. It is very much an art, and like any form of art, it requires a great deal of practice to master. But hey, what the hell? I don't see any reason not to give you folks a couple pointers to start off with. The key to Khajiit hunting is knowing the particular species of Kaj you're tracking. This is real lore, so pay attention. Depending on the phase of the moons at each individual Kaj cub's birth, the cub's morphology may differ substantially, even from members of its own, what the fuck do they call their families? Packs? That what they call them? Packs? Prides? I don't care, you all get what I mean. The Suthe-Rat are the most common breed of Khajiit found in my native land of Morrowind. I never recommend this breed for amateur Kaj hunters. True, they generally lack the raw muscle power of their more hardy cousin breeds in western provinces, but what they lack in physical strength, they make up for with speed and agility, especially when they're strung out on skooma. Not only does this make them incredibly difficult to catch, it can also make them dangerous opponents in hand-to-hand combat. Even an experienced sportsman like myself must be weary of the drug-addled Suthe-Rat and its lightning-fast claw swipes. You have been warned. For beginners and more casual Kaj hunters, I tend to recommend the Cathay breed, which is incidentally the breed most commonly found in Skyrim. They are, for the most part, considerably stronger than their Suthe-Rot brethren in Morrowind. But you've no need to fret. The Cathay Kaj may be stronger, but their greater muscle mass and lack of a digitigrade leg structure renders them heavier and less agile. Their prints are also easier to identify than those of their Suthe-Rot counterparts, as their feet somewhat resemble human feet, and therefore cannot be confused with the prints of other animals like cougars and wolves. Fuck, changing my outfit every 10 seconds is getting exhausting. Sorry, anyway, yeah. Cathay breed, much easier to track down. And let's be honest, even if they are a little stronger than other bipedal breeds, they're still Kaj. In terms of mental capacity, you have the upper hand, even if you're an orc. Well, actually, no, I take that back. If you're an orc, you might be down there with the cats when it comes to brain power. Sorry, Trinimac, Boethia, Malakath, and all that, you know. If you keep those tips in mind and do some serious research on the particular breed you plan to hunt, I guarantee you will have better success in your Kaj-killing endeavors than less studied hunters. And who knows? Maybe one day you'll be as talented a Kaj killer as Dagoth Uranus or Dagoth Gilvoth. But you will never be as gloriously talented as I, Dagoth Ur. Delusions of grandeur won't get you anywhere, people. I'm just telling you now. And speaking of me, let's get back to my trip. After my abysmal stay in that shit pile known as Windhelm, I set off into the winter cold with nothing but my divine powers, my Gwar, and my considerably shrunken Dagoth. Maybe don't be so quick to judge, it was still impressively lengthed for a half-naked chimer in the Arctic. My objective, to honor my ancestors in the tribe unmourned by bagging as many Khajiit trophies as godly possible in Skyrim. The hunt took me far and wide, from the tundras of the north to the valleys of the Skyrim heartlands in Whiterun. Yes, I did visit the so-called city of Whiterun, and I originally intended to include that part in this episode. But it would have made the episode like 20 minutes long, and even gods need to take breaks from editing shitpost videos, low effort as those videos may be. My visit to Whiterun will be the focus of episode 3.5. I killed Nazim. I'll just put that right out there. I've also got some issues with the companions, but we'll cross that dragon bridge when we get to it. Anyway, the Khajiit hunt itself was incredibly fun. Khajiit are piss easy to track in Skyrim because half of the country is covered in snow, and even the most nimble creatures leave snow prints when they walk. And strangely, the snow falling down from the sky just disappears into the ground instead of building up, so you don't have to worry about any of the tracks disappearing. Plus, the smell and taste of Khajiit dung is unmistakable. Interpret that comment however you wish. Killing Kaj is tough at close quarters, but picking them off from a distance is pretty simple if you have the powers of a living god. By the end of the hunt, I had more pelts and fur garments than my Gwar could even carry. I'm probably going to donate some of them to the Grey Quarter because those poor downtrodden people are quite in need of it. Also, you'd be surprised by how much property taxes cost for Red Mountain. I could fucking use the write-off. With the pelts of all named Kaj in Skyrim now in my possession, I have concluded my hunting excursion, and I am now heading to Ivarstead, where I will begin my long journey up the throat of the world to shit in the Greybeard's temple. You know what to do, people. Drop that like and subscribe, strike that bell button with Kagranak's tools, and stay tuned for more sightseeing adventures with Daddy D in Skyrim. Stay safe, everybody, unless you're a Khajiit.